Welcome back, Energy Express friends. Today we're going to talk about birds. What kind of bird doesn't need a comb? A bald eagle, of course. And now for some real information and facts about birds. Here's Sheldon Owen.
All right, hello everyone. I am Sheldon Owen, Extension Wildlife Specialist with West Virginia University Extension Service. This morning, I'm here with Mr. Joey Herron at Prickett's Fort State Park here in Marion County, just north of Fairmont. And we are out bird watching and trying to capture some birds. Joey is a birder or a bird watcher and also a master bird bander. So, Joey, tell us about what is bird watching?
Bird watching is just what it says. You're watching birds. You're looking for birds of different kinds and trying to identify them. And if you like, keep a list of what you see. So it's just trying to look and listen and watch and pay attention to what's around you and be surprised at how many birds are around you. But that's what bird watching basically is. You want to watch and look and hear what's around you. And if you have a set of binoculars, that brings them real close and where you can look at them real close. And so that makes it even more fun and get you a field guide, or you can get an app on your phone to identify what birds you see and see all the different kinds that we have.
I like the sound of that because that's something that I can do, everyone can be a part of, and there are birds all around us as we go outdoors.
Right, absolutely.
The second part of that, you are a master bird bander. So tell me, what does a master bird bander do?
The Master Bander program is through the government. It's with the U.S. Geological Survey, and you have to take a class and get certified or licensed to be able to capture birds and band them. And so the two main reasons we do the bird banding is to see how long the birds live and to see where they go in migration, to see how far they fly. And so lots of these birds will fly hundreds and thousands of miles after they breed here in West Virginia. So those are the two main reasons we do it. And the bird banding was started a long time ago over in Europe, and they call it ringing over there. We call it the banding here. But there's only about 2,000 of us here in the United States. There's not a lot of people that are licensed. So there's few of us, but we band thousands and thousands of birds every year to find out the two things, how old they are and where they go.
So for bird watching, I just need to be able to see the bird and or hear the bird to see what's out there on the landscape. Now for bird banding, we have to get the bird in our hands. So what do we use to actually capture these birds?
The first most important thing is the bands themselves. I have all different sizes depending on the bird that you're banding. I have a guide to go by here that gives me the information, and it tells me what band size to use for the different birds that I catch. So the smallest band I have is this band is called, it's a 0A is the number, but you can see how tiny the band is. Now each band has a 4-number prefix and a 5-number suffix on it. And that is what I record in the book. So that specifically identifies that bird. So each band has that, no matter what size it is. From this size up into, I've got a large size here that is a 2, and you can see how much bigger that is. And you can see the numbers really well on it too. But that's the largest band that I use on songbirds is a 3. And you'll use that on some of the woodpeckers and things like that with the larger legs. So the bigger the leg, the bigger the band. The other real important thing is the pliers that are used to put the bands on. The pliers are in different sizes also. You can see the holes are different from small to a large hole. So that is used to squeeze the band around its legs so that you don't hurt the bird or injure the bird. So we use the pliers. And then the other thing that used is the rule that we measure the wings. the basic thing is just getting the wing and getting the band on the bird. And then I have a sheet that I record all the information on here, the band number, the name of the bird. Now, every bird has this little code. And then after hatch year, I mean, it's an older bird, female, the wing length, and then the date and the place where I banded the bird. And that's just the basic information.
You mentioned the age, so you said after hatch year.
After hatch year means that it hatched last year maybe, and it's at least a year old. Some birds you can determine whether they're a second year bird. Not all birds you can tell with that.
If I were in South America and I capture this bird with this unique band, what kind of information does that tell me?
Well, like I said, if you go in on the website, the banding lab has their website. You go in and put that number in. It's going to tell you that Joey Heron here in West Virginia caught this bird on this day, and what the bird was, and the age of the bird, and the sex of the bird, and exactly when I banded it. So it will give specific information about the bird. It's neat. That's why we do it. We find out where the birds go, and they go all over the place, and then how long they live. Those are the two main things. Now, other things can be done with the banding, but those are the two main things we do the banding. If we didn't do the banding, we never would know about a lot of these birds, where they travel, and we would never know that without the banding that we do. So we're setting up a mist net to catch birds. That's what we do to be able to band them. So you set up a mist net. The mist net's about 40 feet long and 7 feet high, and it's like a hair net. It's real fine and thin, so the birds fly into it. They don't get hurt. So I've set up a net so we can catch some birds. And when we get over to the net, I'll show you how it's set up and how the birds, when they fly into it, how it captures them, and then you get them out. So we'll go over here where this, and actually we've got a couple birds in the net now. So we'll go over and look at the net and get the birds out. So the way the net works, you can see it has 4 different troughs here that we call them. And what happens is when the bird, whichever direction it comes flying, when it flies in and it lands down this little trough and kind of gets stuck in here. So you just reach down and get it out. So you can see that the net is real fine, it's soft, so it doesn't hurt them. And when you step back, it kind of disappears. So they can't see it when they're flying. That's why they fly into it. This is, we just caught a northern cardinal. This is the state bird of West Virginia. And this one's a female. You can see not the bright red, but she has a little bit of red on her head, tinged on the wings and the tail. The beak on the cardinal is real thick because they're seed eaters and fruit eaters. So, but the big thick beak is meaning a seed eater. If you have a beak that's real thin and skinny, then those birds probably eat lots of insects. Like I said, that's our state bird. If you look on the feathers, you can see how it comes out and then goes down, and that shows that the feather is being worn. If it was a new feather, you see these feathers are kind of newish here. Look, you've got the same kind of amount on both sides. This is worn down, so that's why they have to molt them in, is after a while this wears down so much that they need new feathers. So she, it's an after hatch year. I can't determine anything more than that. So what happens, you can see underneath here is there's fluid. That fluid helps keep the eggs warm and the babies warm. She's sitting on them. Her skin closer, the babies are closer to the body and the warmth of her skin. So she loses the feathers there so she can keep the babies warm at nighttime and when they're cold. And then she's incubating the eggs before the babies hatch. It helps those eggs incubate faster so she hatches them out faster. So we're going to let her go so she can get back to feeding her babies. And see her go. Here she goes. We've got 2 song sparrows. These are real common here in West Virginia and everybody's backyard. Song sparrow has a streaked breast, and sometimes you see in the books that you see a song sparrow picture, they have a spot, like a brown or dark spot on its breast. Some of them have that, some don't. This you can see almost here, the spot, but it has the streaks there, and it has the streaks on the head. You see, look at the claws here. Okay, they use those long claws to grasp when they're perching, but also they'll use those to dig up things on the ground because they feed on the ground a lot. Song sparrows will, if you have a bird feeder in your backyard, you'll mostly see them on the ground. So what they do is they scratch up stuff on the ground under the leaves and things like that to find stuff to eat. Because I just posted a video of this bird singing. It was one down there and some pictures, and they just got such a beautiful song. Now I have the bird in what's called the bander's grip right here. See, I pinched the bird between my fingers so it doesn't choke the bird and keeps the bird from injuring itself and me too. And this is the grip that I'll be using to handle the bird. As you can see the spots on the breast, that's a thrush characteristic, is the spotting. So wood thrush, robin, bluebirds, and our Swainsons, Veeries, all those thrushes we have here in West Virginia, all related to have the spotting. One of the main characteristics on these guys is the large spots and then the bright rusty color on the head and the back. With some birds, the male and female are different, but not all birds are like that. Like the wood thrush, the male and the female look just alike. There's no difference. We call that dimorphism, where they're different. Di means two. One way that you can tell, though, if the bird is a male or female at this time of year is doing something by blowing on the belly and spreading the feathers out. You see that little patch here on the belly that is exposed. When the female birds sit on their eggs, they lose these feathers on their belly so that the skin is next to the egg to make it warmer so the egg will hatch real quick. And so the females develop this, what we call a brood patch on their belly. So this one looks like it's a female with that brood patch. Now, the other thing we look at as far as the age of the bird is we try to look at the feathers and see if there's any old feathers in here. Birds have primary feathers, which are these long outer feathers, and secondary feathers, which are the ones closer to the body. So we look at these and see if there's any difference in color, which these all look pretty uniform in color, nothing difference. If this was a younger bird, these feathers would not be as bright brown, they'd be really dull gray color. Now, also you can see out on these feathers on the outside how worn and jagged they are. So this bird will lose a couple of these feathers and molt in brand new ones. This bird probably has just got back from its long migration from the south up here to breed and have babies. They nest in shrubs. They build their nest out of sticks and mud and moss and things like that, and they'll build it in a bush. They usually have 5 to 7 eggs in the nest, and so they usually have 5 to 7 babies. And right now is the main time that they're breeding. So this bird, the information that I collected, I wrote it all down. The number, I will submit it to the bird banding lab, which is in Patuxent, Maryland. They keep a record of all the birds banded by bird banders like myself. So if you find a bird that has a band on it, then you want to write that number down and then go on the Bird Banding Lab website. And if you put that number in, it will tell you what kind of bird it is, who banded the bird, where they banded it, and how old the bird is. You can find out all the information. That's why we do the banding, to find out how long the bird lives and where it goes. These wood thrush come here in the summertime to eat all of our insects and caterpillars and things, because we have a lot of them around, and raise their babies. And then once they're done, in September and October, they fly south and down into Mexico, Central America, and South America, and that's where they stay during our winter. It's summer down there, that's where they stay. And then in the springtime, they come back here to do it all over again. So we've caught one of our really great warbler species that we have here in West Virginia. This is a Kentucky warbler, and lots of times you'll hear this bird and not see it. But you can see the bright yellow, which a lot of our warblers have this bright yellow plumage, and then the black around the head. So I'm going to get a band on this guy, and we'll look in more detail at it after I get the band on its leg. So we're going to use a 1 band here.
So 1 beat?
No, just one.
Just one.
Just a 1. And I'm going to, this must be a string. And the number is 1741 is the prefix, and 32401. This is one of the smaller bands because warblers are very small. They're only 3 to 4 to 5 inches, depending on which one. And you'll notice too, what's interesting about the Kentucky warblers, they got pink legs. Some birds have darker colored legs, some lighter color, but you can see on this one that the legs are pink. Okay, we'll get the wing. Is 69. No brood patch. Now, really interesting about our warblers, and especially Kentucky, is look at the green color on the back. And if you notice that green is like a lot we see in behind us here is the green of the woods. So they blend in really well. So if this bird's sitting in the woods with its back to you, you wouldn't see it probably because it blends in with the green. That's why it's colored that way. The bright yellow, the males have this bright yellow with the black, and it's almost like a mask on its eyes. And then the black on the head. That distinguishes it that it's a Kentucky warbler. That's the characteristics of a Kentucky warbler. The male has a lot more dark around the mask and the head than the female. She has a lighter, the black isn't as distinct. So this is a male Kentucky warbler. Like I said, one of the 35 warbler species that we have in the East. And West Virginia is famous for its warblers, especially in the spring and the summertime. And this is a really good one to see. Now, if you'll look on the head, there's little gray feathers that's in the head there too with the black. See the gray? And those little gray feathers kind of will distinguish how old the bird is. So I'm going to look at the key chart I have here and look and see that it is an older male Kentucky warbler. He has lots of black in the crown and lots of black on his mask, so it's an after hatch year. What's really neat about this bird is that he has molted in a lot of his tail feathers, and if you look at the tail feathers, now their tail feathers, they have 12, 6 on each side. And if you look at the tips of those tail feathers, you can see the tips there. It's a red-shouldered hawk calling behind us. Those tips mean that if this bird has just molted in, these are brand new feathers. They're really fresh. So it's molted those in, and then I'm going to look at its wing feathers and see, and it's got some nice fresh secondary feathers here that's molted in, and they look really good. Look at the little light green around the edges there that you can see, and the green on the back, and those tip tail feathers. Really, really nice. So, beautiful bird, Kentucky warbler, that we caught in the nets there. The Kentucky warbler has a song. It's real soft, and it goes cheery, 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 and kind of descends and goes low. But you'll hear it lots of times in the bushes, in the woods, and they like wooded areas like this, the low bushes. They like little valley areas along trails and things like that. and along our country roads here in West Virginia, a hillside with lots of low bushes and trees and things like that. That's where they like to breed and hang out. So this is a Kentucky warbler.
So, Joey, when is the best time for you to be out nest netting? And once you have them set up like this, do you leave them up all the time, or how do you take care of your nets?
Okay, well, the best time really to bird, most do any kind of birding, is usually early in the morning, because the birds are most active as soon as the sun comes up, because they're feeding and things like that. And activity dies down like around 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then noontime it's like a noontime nap time. And things slow down because it gets hot and stuff too, but then things pick back up in the evening. But the best time really to see the widest variety of birds is usually in the morning between sunrise and 10, 11 o'clock. As far as the nets, if I'm done in an area, I'll take the nets down, or if I want to leave them and do some extensive banding over a period of time, what I do is I will leave the net, but I will furl it up and tie it so that the birds can't get tangled in it, because you don't want to do that. When I'm banding, I check the nets regular, like every half hour or so, because you don't want the bird in the net gets stressed or get overheated or something. So you always check them on a regular basis, because you don't want the bird to get stressed out. So what I do with the nets is I squeeze them, I furl them up. This is the way we do it. They're real easy to do. Take and squeeze them together like this. I'll take the pole down. We'll do the other end the same way. Yep. And so what I do is I get in the middle here, and I'll just furl it, spin the net. You want to spin it until the whole thing gets in. It's like one long rope. And then once it's like that, then I have little ties that I tie off the net this way, so if the weather gets bad or windy or something like that, it doesn't open the net up. So I'll tie it off about every 1.5 foot or so and do the ties. And that way the net can't open up and nothing can get tangled in it until the next time I come. So if I'm doing banding in an area over a period of time, this is the way I'll do it to keep the net from opening up and keep it safe. I also have signs that I put out with the nets that I get from the banding lab, showing that this is a banding area and that it's not to be disturbed, for people to leave it alone. So this is the way we do it. Now, if I want to take the net down, I'll just take it and wrap it up and put it in the bag that I have that stored in. So the nets, this big net that you see here, will take it down and it'll be just one little ball, and put it in a bag, and that's all there is to it. Wow.
It has been a great morning here at Prickett's Fort State Park. Probably heard or seen 30-ish bird species.
Probably close to 40 species. Yeah.
We also captured 4 different species in the mist nets this morning. So, Joey, I've also heard that you're a great photographer. So how can I see some of your photos?
I have a Facebook page. It's called Heron Birding, and I post nothing but pictures of birds on there. So you can see birds, all different kinds of birds that I see out here at Prickett's Fort and all different places in the state of West Virginia. And I put those on there. I also am on Instagram and Twitter, and it's under West Virginia Saw-Whet. WV Saw-Whet is what I post those pictures under. But Heron Birding is the Facebook page that I put all my pictures on.
Excellent. A birder has to be on Twitter, right?
Oh yeah, you got to tweet.
It must be.
Yes, that's right.
So I've got my handy dandy binoculars. I've got a bird guide book now, a field guide that I can pick up at Amazon, many of our local bookstores.
Yes.
Are there other ways that the kids of West Virginia can get involved in birding?
One of the main easiest things is have mom and dad buy you a bird feeder and stick it in the backyard. It's a great way to see the birds that are in your yard or in where you live. and just put a bird feeder up, put a couple up, and see what you might get. And one of the best places to get bird feeders and stuff is in Morgantown at Wild Birds Unlimited. It's a great shop. They've got bird feed, bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, all different kinds of stuff. They have field guides there and things that you can get too. So that's a great spot. Or if you want to get something, in a local store, you can do that too. But having a bird feeder in the backyard is a great way to start watching the birds, and then you can go from there. The other thing is, if you don't know what bird you're seeing, like he said there, get you a field guide or get you an app on the phone, or have mom and dad show you on the computer or something how you can see the different types of birds that you're seeing in your backyard. The other thing is that you can get involved in the Young Birders Club, which just started last year by Katie Fallon in Morgantown. Katie is a president of Audubon in Morgantown, and she also is a president of the Avian Conservation Center of Appalachia. They're a group that takes in injured birds of any kind. So if you find an injured bird, you can contact them. It's ACCA. I'm not sure what the number is, but you can look it up and find it, and they will tell you what to do with the bird or bring it in to them. But Katie is also, she has a couple young girls that are involved in this Young Birders Club, and it might be a way for you to start to be able to watch the birds here in West Virginia.
Are there kind of local groups around the state they can get involved in, sort of sporadically around? I know there may be a couple of Audubon groups that are maybe the Eastern Panhandle, southern part of the state. So there may be some other opportunities if you're not just localized there in Morgantown.
Brooks Bird Club is in Wheeling.
Okay.
And then there's an Audubon group in Charleston, Morgantown, one in the Eastern Panhandle, so all that I know.
Okay. Excellent. So great opportunities for everyone around West Virginia to get involved. I want to say thank you for coming out this morning.
It's been great.
And thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully you've seen I know you've seen a few very cool birds that we've captured here this morning. So Joey and I both encourage you to get out, explore, see what you can find across West Virginia, what types of birds are out there, what can you see, what can you hear. So get out and see what kind of wild, wonderful wildlife we can have and find here in West Virginia.
Hey Energy Express friends, did you have a fun day? I know I did. Well, we'll see you again soon for more fun and more activities. Have a good one. Bye-bye.